Hey mortgage brokers, we have put together this quick video tutorial to show you the easiest way to prepare your MPP insurance quotes with eSign. We assume that you have already learned how to use e-signatures. This is not a beginner's guide to eSign. If you would like more information on how to use eSign, please go and watch our eSign video. I have two borrowers to sign this form, so anything that I do for Jack will show up in green, and for Sally it will show up in blue. And we'll always begin by adding a signature, which will then give us additional options. So you can see there are a few grayed out options. Once I click signature, it will open up the other fields that can now be tied to the same signer. I will click signing date, and I will scroll down and I will add 4 radio buttons. I need 1, 2, 3, 4 radio buttons. So I will click 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to slide the radio buttons into position. So I'll put 2 up in the life section, 1 to apply and 1 to waive, and 2 up in the disability section. Here's a tip for you. Make sure that the crosshairs arrow is showing up and not the diagonal arrow. Otherwise, you will be resizing these and they don't need resizing. So don't use the diagonal arrow. Make sure you move with the cross. Now I can resize the signature box if I like. I can resize the signing date if I like. I can scroll down slightly and slide the date and signature into position. Don't forget to click on the signature and click these 3 dots up here to change the click to sign to captured signature. I always like to do that. Scroll back up, and now we want to connect these groups of radio buttons. By grouping the radio buttons together, it means that the client will have to make one decision. Either they're going to apply or waive for life, and I want them to make a decision for disability too. So grouping these two into 2 different groups is the key. The way that we do that is we click on the first radio button, and over here on the right hand side we can leave it as part of the default group. We do want to make sure that button number 2 is part of the same group, and you can see that it is the default group. Now we're going to make this group required, so it's mandatory. Now with the disability group, we want them separated from the life, so click radio button number 3, and now instead of default group, we're going to click in this space and create a new group. I'm going to just call it DIS, short form for disability, and I'm going to click on the 4th button and join it to the disability group. Make sure that you make the disability group also mandatory. You can see here as I click is required, and if I click number 1, it's part of the default group. If I click number 2, it's part of the default group. The group is required. Number 3 is part of the disability group. Number 4 is part of the disability group is required. So I can close the X and close the X, and I can repeat the process for applicant number 2. Now that the form is ready to go, we'll click send and see what the client sees from their point of view. The first thing any client sees are the disclosures and consent, and they have to click the accept button before they can access the signing documents. Here I am in my MPP form, and my eye is being drawn to this mandatory section where I have to decide if I would like to apply or waive for both of these options before I can sign. And because these are tied to my name, I cannot make the decision for anyone else but myself. If I try to click and add my signature before the radio buttons have been completed, I will get warning messages. I have to make a decision to apply or waive, and I can toggle between the 2, or apply or waive in both groups. I cannot put checks in both boxes, and I have no option to leave these boxes blank. Once my radio buttons are complete, I can click to sign, add my signature, and hit OK. Here we have our completed MPP form with the X in the spot for waiving. And just as an added aside, we have confirmed with MPP that they are accepting the X in place of initials. We hope this tutorial has been helpful for you. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you need any additional assistance.